Everyone. Welcome back to MTL Sports Podcast, episode 41, guys. This will be a nice and hot, spicy, juicy episode
Oof.
for a majority of reasons. I'm sure some of you guys, if you follow NBA, you'll know why in a minute. All right. My good friend here, Lawrence, is he can't wait to hear the heat that I have. It's gonna come out my mouth in a couple of minutes, but of course we have the big NBA news of the day. We'll go over that in just a second. But also we have, of course, the weekly NFL break preview. So we're going to preview week 4. We're going to pick our games of the week. And then we're going to throw in an extra. The worst teams in this NFL through week 3. Who do we both think are the worst teams? So we'll let you hear all that and more. So stay tuned. Jumping into the first topic of the day, one that, I dreaded, I honestly dreaded talking about.
No, you didn't.
I was just minding my business at work. I think this dropped around 2:30.
I heard minding my business.
I was doing, being a diligent worker like always. Minding my business at my desk. And then randomly my phone blows up. And then I see Woj. And then you know what happens when we all see the Woj bomb, all right? My mind starts racing in a million billion directions, all right?
Who did the Miami Heat give up for him? What did they do for him?
And then I saw the alert. I saw the little alert emojis, like the little, what I'm talking about. And then it said, Dame traded to Bucks. And did I lose my shit? Excuse the language, but I lost my shit. I immediately yelled. My boss was right next to me. I was like, bro, they fucking traded this idiot to the fucking Bucks. Sorry for my language, but they traded this man to the freaking Bucks. I just could not believe it. I was seeing red, and I'm still seeing red. I just cannot. And, I was so pissed off, I literally had to walk outside, and I did 5 laps around the building. I was outside for 30 minutes because I could not process what was going on.
For what they got, man.
And yeah, and for what? And when I saw the trade breakdown, literally his second or third tweet, I saw Woj's trade breakdown, and I lost my shit even more. I almost broke my phone several times. I was seeing red, guys. I was seeing red. And then, of course, the immediate flood of texts and tweets and Instagram DMs from all my friends not checking on me like they should. They all fucking making fun of me.
But why? I didn't make fun of you. Just maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. But so Lawrence, before I go on my rant, I will let you have
your thoughts.
I'll have you break it down.
I mean, I can break it down for you.
How do you feel about, of course, Dame going to the Bucks in this 3-team trade?
I mean, as a rational mind human being, I have no quarrel with the trade because, I really, in particular, I'm not deep into the NBA. I still never really truly, hunkered down to a single team. Just never found that pure joy and love for any NBA team. Just kind of watch it to watch it. I find a new team to fall in love with every year kind of thing. Normally they're always mid, so I always pick bums anyways. Just kind of hard when you don't have your boy Kemba Walker anymore, but it's it happens. But I always kind of follow an NBA, a college player to the NBA, and I just kind of watch that guy and I follow that team based on that. But to see, I was looking at the grades that people were giving from the trade, and a lot of the things that I saw were the Suns got the short end of the stick on all these different people's opinions.
Yes.
And I mean, I asked you before we started, I was like, in my opinion, I feel like the Suns did the best job of all the teams in the trade. Yeah, they didn't get a superstar or anything, but the goal for the Suns never at one point was to get a superstar. I mean, you already have what you need on the roster as it is. You
Yeah.
have what you need. The problem with the team was there was going to be no depth going into the season. It was going to be eight. It was going to be all the starting five, and you were going to have to figure out from there. Maybe you have a Koji. Was it a Koji?
Okogie.
Okogie was going to be your only depth. In
Yep.
reality, we're not going to sugarcoat it. That was going to be your only depth. Instead, you're going to add Nurkic. I mean, obviously that's going to plug in for Ayton. Now you don't have to pay Ayton, and you get Nurkic. Grayson
Yes.
Allen is just depth. He's just gonna take minutes away from. Oh, not even take minutes away. He's just gonna let. He's gonna allow. Oh man, I'm so messed up in the head. And Nasir Little and Keon Johnson. Basically, all they're gonna do is they're gonna let Devin Booker hang out on the bench a little bit longer. A little bit more point guard rotation, a little bit more small forward rotation. Basically, the main thing is there's depth. They
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the season going into it, Okogie being the only depth. They actually have depth. They can actually, have people take games off. If Devin Booker wants to take 2 games off, to get rested up from, he bruised his thigh. He's got a bruise on his thigh. I need 2 games off. I need to take a little bit of a break. That's
Yeah.
fine. You can survive 2 games with Grayson Allen in your starting unit. The freaking Bucks did it for a whole season. You can survive a few games with Grayson Allen in your starting unit.
Yeah.
Same thing with, I think Nasir Little is a power forward, right?
Yeah. He plays the wing. He's a wing. Yeah.
Wing. He can give. He played really well down the stretch for the Trailblazers. Obviously, the Trailblazers weren't any team to write home about, but
No.
if Devin Booker's scoring all the points, and you still got Nurkic who can do things in the paint, you don't need him to score a bunch of points, and he can let Durant can take a day off here and there. I just think they just have depth now. So why we're giving them the short end of the stick, for God knows what reason, I don't know. If anyone deserves the short end of the stick, it's the Bucks. I mean, all you got was Lillard. All you got was Lillard. I mean, you didn't get anything from the other 2 teams other than Lillard. Which, I mean, in reality, what else did you need? But I get it, point guard for another point guard. But
Yeah.
in my whole time watching the Bucks, never once did I think that Drew was ever the problem. I don't think he was ever like the problem. If anything, he
No.
was a consistent piece that was always there and available and ready. He was a constant. Middleton has kind of been the one who's not always there, not always, game fit, we'll just
Yes.
say. That may or may not have been your problem. But fuck that. I'm sorry about my language, but we're just going to kick Holiday to the curb. Mind you, it makes sense because you're giving up Lillard, but if you're the Blazers now, I don't believe Holiday's going to want to play for you. So you're
Heck
probably
no.
gonna
No.
have to give him. You're gonna have to give up something to get rid of him. So you're probably gonna have to give up a second round pick, just to get like a first. So you're gonna give up a Holiday and a second round pick for a first round pick, probably maybe a role player kind of thing. You have DeAndre Ayton. I guess that's a focal point going into the future. You finally get a center who's not always broken. Sorry, Nurkic, but you're kind of always broken.
Yeah.
But I mean, all you got was a swap and a first round pick.
A single.
And this is where I'll let you, because I don't even know who Kamara is, so I'm not even going to get into that they got on the trade for the Suns. But I think this is where I'll leave you off is the Blazers. You got a player who's not going to play for you probably. Now I say probably. We've seen people play for teams we didn't think they were going to play for before, so maybe he plays for them, but I really doubt it. He's probably going to want to go right back to a contender, which in reality, that gives another contender team, I think, complete motivation to kind of reach out and try to scoop him up. Whether that's like a team kind of like, as soon as I saw Holiday going to the Blazers, I knew he wasn't going to want to play for them. And team that has a lot of first-round picks that the Blazers are going to try to get for him is OKC. And I think he does good on OKC. I just do, because now we don't have to ask SGA to run point. He can go back to shooting guard. He can score all the points. Drew likes to play defense and likes to score points when needed. That kind of works out really well for them, especially because he ain't gonna have to be the main guy. He can go kind of back into being like that third piece. Because right now you got the OKC. We don't really know what they're gonna do with Holmgren. That's like a whole thing we're gonna have to learn this season. But you got SGA is your first option. Second option, Giddey. Currently, probably at the current moment, third option is a small forward. I can't think of his name. Dort. Dort is most likely the third option. I know they got the two Williams brothers who did really good, but Dort's probably a third option just because he's been there for a while. I think Holiday helps him on the defensive end, and we saw certain multiple times for the OKC, the defensive side of the ball was kind of where they got beat up on most of the time. SGA definitely is a liability on defense. You add Holiday to the team because you got multiple first-round picks to give up. That might be the only way that Blazers get first-round picks is from the OKC who doesn't care. But I doubt he goes to OKC. But that's just the first thought that I had in my mind. But I don't think he's going to play for him. So you got a player who's not going to play with you. You wanted picks and you barely got any picks, and you gave up Lillard for chump change.
Yep.
And now, as our Miami Heat fan, where everyone thought for months now he was going to go, it was just a matter of time. Kind of like the Aaron Rodgers saga in New York. We knew he was going to go. It was just a matter of time of for what and how and why. Lay it out for us, because I know you're heated and I know you have a lot on your mind.
Yeah, so, in the intro to the segment, I already kind of laid it out. What happened? Very upset. Saw red. Still seeing red right now. And I just don't understand. As trying to be level-headed and not biased in the situation. I don't understand why Portland made this trade. You still have
a lot of people do.
Okay, so training camp starts on Monday. Today is Wednesday. You technically still have this whole week plus the weekend to make a deal. No one said that the deadline was today at 2:30 p.m. No one said the deadline was today, 3 p.m. No one said the deadline's tomorrow. There's no deadline per se, but we all knew that this trade was heading towards completion because of, hey, the training camp was on Monday. All the insiders were reporting, hey, they don't want to bring this into training camp. They rather get this done now. So that's why we started hearing the rumors and stuff. The rumors, the reports, all these coverages started ramping up the past week, ever since last Wednesday. All right, we heard the Raptors were the front runners. We even saw in the deleted tweet, and I'll post it right here, that Shams reported that Dame was traded, but then deleted it. Portland gave Shams shammy info, and then immediately went to Woj and told him the truth. That's why we saw it from Woj first. Woj has been in Portland's back pocket this whole time. Woj reported it first. Yeah. Shams, for the past couple years, Shams has been on top of this. That's why a lot of people are on the Shams train, and not so much, they're saying fuck a Woj bomb. We don't really care because Shams is doing the same stuff as you, if not a couple minutes faster, So Woj just kind of been playing catch up. But in this situation, Woj and Shams have been butting heads because one is pro Lillard, Shams, one is pro Joe Cronin and the Portland Poverty Trailblazers, right? So
they went to a championship game 4 years ago?
The Western Conference Final, yeah, and got swept.
Sorry.
They got swept, and the Warriors didn't have KD. So basically, and then even when Woj in NBA Today is reporting, of course, he's the first segment, and he's talking about, Portland just love these assets, and just love the fact that they could get Ayton and Drew Holiday's a proven vet, and they think they can flip him for more picks. I'm like, bro, that's not going to happen. Number one, Portland got fleeced. All right, so let's break down the trade. Portland got fleeced. ESPN has them as a B, or a B plus, right? No, they got fleeced. In the beginning of all this, Joe Cronin said he wanted a package similar to Kevin Durant and Rudy Gobert. He wanted 4 picks. This man got a 4th of what Kevin Durant went for. And then you're going to hope that you can flip Drew Holiday immediately? Why are you putting that out there, dummy? Every team and their mom is going to know that you want to flip Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday knows that he doesn't want to play there. Why in the hell are teams just going to start lining up for Drew Holiday? They know you have to get rid of him. Why the hell am I going to offer you a first-round pick? You're just going to get a bunch of seconds, if that. You can get some bums in like 2 seconds. So that's where you fucked up too. And then, okay, Ayton for Nurkic, I understand. Because Nurkic, they wanted to get off that money too. And then Ayton, he's a young center who obviously was frustrated with Phoenix. He needed a fresh start. Maybe Portland thinks that they can pair him, because his money's not too bad. Pair him with Scoot, with Anthony Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe, and hopefully they can like make some noise like in a couple years. So I understand them getting Ayton. That part I feel like it's okay. It's understandable. But everything else, they got fleeced, bro. They got 1 pick. It's unprotected in 2029. They got 1 pick in a swap. That's, in my opinion, that's bullshit. With Miami and all the trades, you would have at least, bare minimum, got 2. And some of the trades that were popping up Monday, Tuesday, they were all had 3 picks and swaps. And you could have flipped Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero would have got you at least 1. Utah was going to probably send 2 because Utah really wants Tyler Hero for whatever reason. Danny Ainge loves Tyler Hero. So, and all this, bro, it's all, they did it all out of spite. Joe Cronin is a phony. He's a spiteful, I don't know if he's old or young, but he's just a spiteful, like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's going to lose his job if he can't flip Drew Holiday for decent value. He's probably going to get Drew Holiday on pennies for the dollar to whatever team. Like, he's going to lose his job in a year or two. Like, this guy's an idiot. Don't see how these idiot GMs keep getting jobs. And for all these executives, like the 2 executives the other day that said, oh, the Raptors are the front runners to win. Well, apparently not, because the damn Bucks beat everybody out by offering 1 pick, the only pick they had. They only had 1 pick and 1 pick swap. And they got Dame Lillard. So, to all these genius GMs that think they know everything, apparently you don't. Because the one team that no one saw coming got Dame Lillard. Moving on. You're right. Phoenix Suns did a pretty good job. They got rid of Ayton. Like I said, need a fresh start. Got some depth pieces. Nurkic, he gets hurt a lot, but honestly, you'll probably play more Kevin Durant at 5. And just hopefully you just hope you can outscore people. Just bring Nurkic in when you go against Jokic and AD. That's pretty much what he's there for. All right, so, and Grayson Allen can shoot. That's what they need, is more shooting. They're already pretty deep. So like Nasir Little and the other guy that's coming over, I forgot, but
Keon Johnson.
Yeah, they'll be competing for minutes, but I mean, Phoenix Suns, they're kind of limited on roster spots, so we'll see how many of these guys they keep. But Phoenix is already pretty loaded. This makes them marginally better. We won't know until we actually see them on the court in like a week or 2. For preseason games, because they start pretty soon. And then when we go to Milwaukee, ESPN has them also as a B+. I know everyone's hyping them up, but I feel like we gotta slow the brakes because we don't know if this trade, because Drew was the glue for this team, I feel like, and you already said it, like, he was that guy. He wasn't the problem. The problem is Chris Middleton for the most part, and Giannis. They both can't stay healthy. Yep. Drew was the one constant in this whole equation, and we'll see how this goes because Dame also has an injury history. So if we have 3 guys that are injury prone, and I mean, Dame's going to try and play more, obviously, because his team is actually good, but still, a guy that's been injured a lot in the past couple seasons, paired with 2 other guys that have been injured a lot in the past couple seasons, and they were still winning a lot, it just begs the question, like, can this team stay healthy enough to actually like make a deep playoff push?
Well, now you also look at the Bucks team as well. Like, they lost a lot of depth.
They don't have any more assets.
They have no more assets. They're kind of limited on what players they have left now. They're probably going to have to scramble to fill the rest of the roster. And then lastly, I mean, you have no more money.
Nope.
You gave it all. You got it all tied into certain players, and outside the players that are always hurt are players that are really old now. Like Bobby
Yep.
Portis ain't young anymore. Or sorry, Bobby Portis is not young anymore. Let me say it in proper English. Bobby Portis is not young anymore. Brooke Lopez is definitely not young anymore.
Nope.
And I know they have Joe Ingles still, right? I think they still have Joe Ingles.
Joe went to the Magic, I think.
So Joe Ingles on the Magic. So I was gonna say there's another old guy that they have. I mean, that kind of makes sense that they got rid of Grayson Allen to put Joe.
And they lost Javon Carter.
They lost Javon Carter. I think they just. I guess this is what their idea of a big three is, but outside of the big three that they have, is not a whole lot.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I think we need to, again, pump the brakes on the Bucks. They should be the favorite, though. Like, I agree. They are the favorite in the East, I feel like. But overall, I think it's kind of tough. You got the Lakers there, you got the Suns there, and you got the Celtics. And you got the Nuggets, of course. The defending champs are still going to be good. So are they the favorites to win it all now? It's debatable. But we don't know how this trade-off for, like, a guy who is clearly, like, a really good scorer versus a guy who was a two-way guy, one of the best defenders in the league, but who can also give you 20 to 25. So we don't really know. And for the losers, the Heat, man, 50% of this is on Joe Cronin, of course. I already cussed him out. I don't feel like I need to say too much about him. He's just he leads a poverty franchise. He's impoverished himself.
Franchise.
In terms of his knowledge of basketball, he's an idiot. He probably should never get the job, but he just knows a lot of people. So for whatever reason, he's in charge. So Portland's probably going to be in shambles for the next 2 decades or whatever. But the other half is on Pat Riley. And while I commend him for not folding and giving up the whole house, giving up all the assets, this man should have tried at least a little bit harder. And I know Joe Cronin did this out of spite, guys, but if you would have just pushed this man to the brink, if you just push him to the brink and just gave him an offer that he just could not refuse, but you could also still be competitive somewhat, then it still would have been done. If they wanted Caleb Martin, give them damn Caleb Martin. Why are we fighting over Caleb Martin? Why are we fighting over whether it's Nikola Jovic or Jaime Jaquez? Why are we fighting over that? I don't understand. Why are we fighting over if it's Lowry or Duncan or if Hero is included or not? Now, I know there's all the reports, and I'll post them in this video of the different trade, scenarios that I can find. But apparently in the most recent one, Miami offered like Hero, Lowry, either Jaime Jaquez or Jovic, 3 picks, I think 3 swaps, and I think Caleb Martin was on the table. And apparently Joe Cronin still said no to that. And then there was a third team involved. I think the Suns were still involved. So they would have got like all the Heat players plus Ayton and like all the picks that they wanted. So I don't know. I feel like Pat Riley effect, his swag, his like just like, way to get deals done just is worn off, and I don't feel like this man can honestly lead this organization anymore. I feel like after this year he has to retire. Because honestly, like who's the next big superstar that's gonna ask out besides Harden? And we don't need Harden. Like Lawrence, who's the next big player that's gonna ask out? It would have been Giannis, but now he's gonna stay probably.
Oh, he has to stay now. I mean, I think Kyrie might be at the point in his career where he's not going to ask out.
He just signed. No, he's not going to ask out.
No, but I think he kind of likes Mark Cuban. I think him and Mark Cuban. I think Kyrie is all about money, all about trying to get himself more money, bettering himself in terms of financial. There probably is no better owner to get involved with when you're all about money in your brain. Probably is no better owner, so he's probably set. I mean, no, because a lot of the other teams they kind of have younger guys everywhere. The only other team that might have a guy who asks out is like Atlanta with Trey Young. Or no, not
Trae Young, yeah, he might ask
yeah.
out, but
Sorry, I doubt it. I really doubt it. But I mean, he's won like because what was it? The owner, or not the owner, the new coach isn't even, or the old coach wasn't sold on him, and the new coach was like, "There's something wrong with him." But
yeah,
we'll see how long
and
that lasts. But I mean, Trae Young. I mean, that doesn't really that doesn't entice. I don't think that really entices
no,
the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat. I feel like they need like an older veteran kind of guy. I think Trae Young's still too young for him.
yep,
Um, I think Hawkaz is gonna be good for you because he's not a young guy coming out of college; he's an older guy coming out of college, so he should kind of fit the mold that Jimmy Butler is kind of building in terms of team mentality and intensity. I just think you just need like that last piece to the puzzle. I don't think Hawkeyes is that last piece, but I think he
no,
just aids it. But no, you're right. There are no big names out there that are probably going to be asked. Now, the only one that I can think of is the Minnesota. If Minnesota just starts this year off horrible, you could see half that team just saying, "Dude, screw this. What's the point of showing up anymore? It's not working. It's not happening." I mean, like, dude, Karl Anthony Towns during
no,
like this during the FIBA thing. No, we're just talking about guys that are trying to leave. Karl Anthony Towns, obviously, when he plays for his home nation, looks 20 times better than he plays for the Timberwolves. Obviously, you probably don't want him for the Heat, but he's probably going to want to. He might be one of those guys that ass out. Other than that, I mean, there's not a lot of teams that just have guys that are just probably going to be like, "Hey, this just ain't it, man. I want out of here."
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think when we're looking around the NBA, Minnesota, if they implode this year, maybe they break up Ant-Man and Cat, but Cat doesn't fit Heat culture. This man is too soft. I don't think he'll do the things Pat Riley and Spo ask him to do. So I feel like he won't be a good fit.
Oh, and Jimmy Butler
Donovan,
hates him, so
yeah, and that wouldn't work. Number two. And then also, I mean, if you look at, I mean, Zach LaVine doesn't really move the needle like that either. He's just a more athletic but more injury prone Tyler Hero. I feel like Tyler Hero could probably do the same things. We already talked about a Harden. Like I don't want a Hero for Harden swap. Like I feel like neither team gets better in that situation. I feel like we might swap places. Like Heat go to 3, Phoenix or Philly goes to 4, vice versa. Like it doesn't really change anything for either team. Uh, Yeah, it's just nothing. Like Trae Young doesn't move the needle. Like Dame was the only guy that would have moved the needle, and we had all the pieces that
could you
made
see
sense to get
Pascal saying he wants out?
Pascal. I mean, Pascal is very much just like Bam. He does the same things Bam can do, but shoots threes sometimes. I feel like it doesn't really move the needle. Yeah, I mean, Joel is the only guy that would move the needle, but then you have to get rid of Bam because you can't have Bam and Joel. I feel like that just would not work out because Bam's kind of reluctant to shoot a three. Joel shoots them kind of. I feel like they're just getting each other's way. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think Philly's going to trade Joel within the East. I feel like I know he's been linked to the Knicks a lot, but I feel like if he asks out after this, the next season or two, I feel like he'll probably go west. I feel like Philly, Daryl Morey would just send him west. He's not going to end up in the East. So the Heat are kind of screwed, man. Running it back with last year's team is just not ideal. We really did think that this was going to play out like Aaron Rodgers, but unfortunately it didn't, mainly out of
I mean,
spite.
the unfortunate thing is, like, you just put all the chickens in one basket all the eggs in one basket.
We could have had Bradley Beal for way less. All we had to do was include another pick, and we would have had him. They just didn't want to give up more than a pick, so we could have had. If we just had another pick, Beal would have chose us. That's what it came down to. So we missed out on Beal, missed out on Dame, missed out on Donovan, missed out on KD twice, missed out on Kyrie twice, missed out on Harden the first time. Missed out on Giannis. Like, bro, this old man has just missed out on way too many superstars. It's just ridiculous.
And like
It's time to go.
I think Spoelstra's a good coach, but you got to give him something. Like he's just getting the same thing year after year.
Yes.
And the problem with it's not the problem that the team's not good, right? That's not the problem. The problem is you keep giving him the same players year after year, and he has to come up with a different system and a different scheme and a different way to use that team.
Yeah.
You can't just run it back the same way every year because there's too much film on you, and everyone will just know how to shut you down every single week, every single game because they've seen everything on you. So he's constantly having to change up how to run the team with the same guys, which doesn't make any sense because if something worked, you should keep running it, but you can't because you just get figured out.
Yeah,
especially Spoelstra's, honestly, just kind of wasting his time, constantly just getting the same team year after year.
Especially going into this season, right? I mean, we lost Gabe Vincent, a starting point guard, and we lost Max Strus, who would usually start as well sometimes. So it's just really tough. I don't see how we get back to where we were last season. I feel like we're gonna be back in the play-in. I honestly feel like we'll be back in the play-in unless these young guys step up. Like Jovic looked good, but we'll see how he does against like actual NBA competition, and we'll see if Jaime Jaquez is actually making like a year one rookie impact. So that's all I got for you guys. You might hear some more of my ranting in a future episode. So I guess we'll move on to NFL Week 4 preview. So stay tuned for that, guys. We're back. Let's hop into some Week 3, or not Week 3. Damn it. Week 4 NFL preview. Lawrence, I'll let you start this off first. Give me your first game of this week.
Ooh, me?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna throw in an honorable mention just because I don't feel like it needs to be a whole lot talked about it, but I think the Lions and the Green Bay Packers is going to be one of those high quality games. I think that we need to get out of the mindset that the Lions aren't what they used to be anymore. I think that they are a completely different team than what we all believe them to be.
Yeah.
And I just mean that in like past years, it's like, oh, dude, Lions, Packers, guaranteed win, especially at home, like guaranteed win for the Packers. I don't think it works like that anymore in the slightest. This game is going to be one of those games that really is dependent based on who starts, who plays, who doesn't play. I'm still begging and praying and hoping that Jahmyr Gibbs finally gets a freaking touchdown. Maybe just gets the ball a little bit in the end zone. I don't know. But, I'm starting to regret my choices I made on draft night. But, it is what it is. You just move forward. You move on from it. So I think maybe this might be finally, if David Montgomery doesn't play, this might be finally the chance that the Lions get to score a touchdown with Jahmyr Gibbs. I also think the Lions should take this game and a win. I think it's also interesting the Lions are playing 2 Thursday night games within 4 weeks. I don't know who made that up, but starting off, I'm taking a 2-1 team versus a 1-2 team.
Ooh.
I'm going right back down the alley. I'm going to punish myself again, but I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I think it's a very important game for this team, and that is Atlanta versus Jacksonville.
Ooh, the London game.
The hatred I always feel towards Atlanta as a Panthers fan. I have cooled off since knowing that my team is absolute garbage, and there is no reason to feel hatred towards Atlanta because they're just better than us. Even though they're our divisional opponent, they just are better than us. Anywho, moving on. Jacksonville needs to figure out, like I said, Jacksonville needs to figure out this offense. I think Jacksonville needs to take the approach of the NBA. So in the NBA, when a guy has a hot hand, you ride said hot hand. You don't take the ball out of his hands. You keep giving it back to him. You force feed him that ball. When they were playing Houston, and they just couldn't figure out how to do anything. They were just muddling over themselves. There was only one guy on that whole entire field for the Jags that was doing anything, and he basically was doing everything at one point, and that was ETN. Now, ETN's a good player, but it's not very often that you see ETN just take over and has super high impact on a game. He's more of like that second punch kind of guy. He's not the first punch kind of guy, but he proved during the Houston game that you can use him like a first punch guy. The only thing that was working was an ETN screen pass, an ETN quick route, and an ETN run up the gut, an ETN run out to the outside. So what do they start doing when the game starts? They start trying to put themselves back in the game. They start trying to air it out to Ridley, throw deep to Kurt. They keep trying to do all this explosive stuff. But the thing that keeps working is ETN. So I don't know. Maybe keep giving the ball to ETN. I'm sorry. You're acting like the guy can't handle the weight. What do you mean he can't handle the weight? He's supposed to be your starting running back for a reason. So if you need him to help you out and take over and just make it easier for Trevor Lawrence, who, let's be honest, doesn't have the longest time in the world to pass the ball. If he's making his life easier, just keep giving him the ball. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, the constant. I think the what really broke the Jaguars this game was their kicker, which they really need to figure out what they want to do moving forward at kicker. Because I don't know if this guy that they have is going to cut it. He missed 2 of them straight out at the beginning of the gate. So they could have had 6 points on the board. They missed 2 kicks. They allowed Houston to go up 10 points on them immediately because they just couldn't hit 2 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars always play different in London. They're just a whole different team in London. But Atlanta, the only time we've ever seen Kyle Pitts score multiple touchdowns in a game and look amazing was also in London. So I think this is also going to be the week that Atlanta says, all right, I think we're done here. And I think it's going to be the Heinicke show starting this week.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but we saw last week that the Lions figured out how to beat you. They literally said, hey, it's fine. Bijan and Algier are all you got. We know from the first 2 games that Bijan and Algier are really good. Yeah, I think kind of Algier should be kind of like the bulldozer back. They kind of just need to stop using Bijan as bulldozer. Yeah, he's big and strong, but as it looks right now, I don't think Bijan wants to run up the gut and get banged up.
Nope.
And I think Kyle Algier is all about that life. Bijan loves to get to the outside, loves the screen passes, loves the quick out routes, loves the quick in route slants. Just let Bijan do those kind of moves and let Algier run up the gut. The problem is Bijan can't be effective in the passing game because Desmond Ridder is an absolute horrible passer. I mean, absolutely god-awful. And we've seen Heinicke play. Heinicke is nothing to go, nothing to write home about. But there's just like, that old saying, he's got that dog in him.
Who's got that dog?
Heinicke just kind of has like that fight, that I'm going to fight into the bitter end and I'm going to die on this field. And I just think guys, they just feel that mentality a little bit better. They play harder for their quarterback that's going to fight for them like that. Mm-hmm. And the difference is Heinicke just gets rid of the ball quick because he had to at Washington before he got murdered. Atlanta, they don't have a good O-line in terms of passing game, but I think the reason they give it so many sacks is Desmond Ridder tries to hold on to the ball too long.
Yes.
And then he doesn't move around the pocket very well, in my opinion. Heinicke's going to get rid of the ball quick, and Heinicke's going to, get the ball out quick, and he's going to move around the pocket better because he's been in the game a little longer. I think this is just going to be the game where this is going to be I think Jacksonville might put everything together, and it might be not a blowout, but it's going to be like one of those games where the Falcons are just like 14 points, 10 points behind just the whole time, and they just say, screw it. And they throw Heinicke out there, and they make like a little push at the end of the game to try to come back. I think that would be your smartest move. I just think this is the week that you just finally say, all right, it is what it is. Maybe Ridder just needs some time to look at how the game is done again like he did last year. I mean, you paid Heinicke money, like top dollar backup quarterback money. You at least got to, give him a shot at this point because the offense just looks bad. And you know that Jacksonville is just going to go into this game thinking, stop Algier, stop Bijan, good luck. Because that's what the Lions did, and you scored 6 points. The Lions also gave up the ball multiple times in their own half and said, oh, man, we'll just sack Ritter a few times because he holds on to the ball too long. So
Okay.
I think this might be the time and chance for Heineke to do something. I also think this is a Jacksonville Jaguars wake-up call to this division that we're in is bad, but I don't think the division is that bad. I think the Colts can make pushes. I think the Colts can give them fits. I think we learned now that the Colts dynamically have a really good defense to keep them in a game. And obviously, even if Richardson isn't there, Gardner Minshew can throw the ball. And that was one of the things you saw in the Ravens game is Lamar Jackson could not throw that ball in that rainy weather. He didn't want to throw the ball in that rainy weather. Minshew didn't care. Minshew just kept slinging it, and it just kept working every once in a while. But I remember I idiotically had a bet for Zay Flowers to score a touchdown. And it was the last leg of the parlay for that whole entire thing. And it was just all I needed was Zay Flowers to score a touchdown. And I watched Zay Flowers run to the back of the end zone. All Lamar had to do was throw a fade up to him. He was by himself. He saw it, and once he had seen it, he decided, okay, but I'm gonna run it in instead. And he got hit 3 times on the way to the end zone. He scored it, but it would have been a lot smarter just to chuck it up there to Zay Flowers. I would have won my bet. You wouldn't have gotten hit 3 times. Zay Flowers would have finally got a touchdown. I mean, he started the game 9 for 9 throwing the ball. But he was 9 for 9 for like 68 yards.
So okay, decent. Yeah. Nothing to write home about. All right, I like your pick. I'm gonna go with, of course, Houday. Hashtag Houday.
Houday.
Cincinnati versus Tennessee. A 1:00 game on Fox. It'll be in Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. Now, of course, you guys already know. Went over this on Monday's show. Bengals are coming off a win against the Rams, in which, Joe Burrow looked okay, still very limited. After the game, he said, doesn't really feel any setbacks in the calf, so he's still going to treat it like week to week. Defense played outstanding, considering the Rams were like the number 2 or 3 offense heading into the game, so it was really impressive to get 6 sacks on Matthew Stafford and force 2 interceptions. Really impressive win because the defense thus far has been kind of suspect. So at least we know that the defense can show up when needed. And they're going to be needed for this game as well. Because our Achilles heel as of right now, and I think Lawrence in your episode yesterday, you kind of mentioned it, like all the Titans have to do is run the ball, and they just don't run the ball effectively for whatever reason. And for the Bengals, that's their Achilles heel. Like our run defense so far, it's not been the best. The Rams, for whatever reason, didn't run the ball
10 times.
Yeah, they didn't. And the game was close. Like, they didn't have to throw, but they did for whatever reason.
They ran the ball 10 times.
Yeah, so we'll see. We already know the Titans are a run-heavy team. The Browns kind of stopped that. I mean, not surprisingly, but they kind of put that to, like, a straight halt. So, like, we'll see, what the defense does against the Titans. But as you can see, that's pretty overwhelming. 60% is going towards Cincinnati on the road. Honestly, and the line is at 2.5. Honestly, this will probably be another nail biter. Like, I think Cincinnati does win by that 2.5, but it will be another close game just because Joe is just not himself, and he's going to be pretty limited in what he can do. Maybe it feels better enough so that he can go under center for a couple snaps to kind of throw off the Titans, because so far it's just been mostly gun and pistol formations. And finally, it took 3 games for Zach Taylor to start treating Jamar Chase like how they do like Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, and have them in motion and put him in this, having him stacked versus just leaving him on the outside on the island by himself, or having him just in the slot with no like motions to get him free or kind of get him going before the snap. So with all those tricks up Zach Taylor's back in the defense. I feel like it'll be a good game for the Titans. We'll see if they can establish the run, and we'll see if Tannehill can make timely throws against our young secondary. Dax Hill looked really good last game. Awuzie looked really well, tackled really well. So yeah, we'll see. But I got the Bengals winning this one. It'll be
I think the good thing that the Bengals did against the Rams was you got Joe Mixon involved.
Yes.
Like as soon
should
as
have been more, but it was enough.
As soon as like there was a big, as soon as there was a play in which Jamar Chase was used, like Jay Jettas and Tyreek Hill, they kind of moved him around, and as soon as they had like a big offensive play, they immediately went right back to the run, which is kind of what the Rams should have done. It's like you get the defense flustered with a big play, and then you do a couple motions, you get guys moving back and forth, and you get those guys flustered again, and then you just run the ball at the gut with Mixon, and Mixon just ate it. He just ate it a lot the whole night. He didn't get any big chunk runs, but he consistently gave you 2 and 6, 3 and 4. It's like they're it's a lot easier than 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
Which is what we saw at the beginning of the season with the Bengals' first 2 games, is you kept getting behind the sticks really bad. Kept being 3rd and longs constantly. And then you wanted to be like, oh, why is our 3rd down conversion rate really bad? Because you're barely using Mixon. And it was nice to see him finally get used again. And I think part of it has to be the fact that they knew they were going to be limited with Joe Burrow, so they were like, oh, we got to get Mixon running. We got to get Mixon really involved. But why not do that every week? I just don't understand why certain teams have certain value players, and they just don't use that certain player to set value that they have. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's the same thing when I said about the Raiders. It's like, dude, Josh Jacobs is really good. He's a really good running back.
Led the league in rushing.
And he has 70% of your rushing yards for your whole team. And you barely use him.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense. And they always say, like, when your O-line isn't looking really good and it's looking a little bit sus, just run the ball. Because it's easier to push guys than it is to hold guys and block guys.
Yeah.
It's easier just to push guys.
Gotta be aggressive, for sure. What's your second pick of the week?
Well, my second pick, I think it's going to be. I'm going to throw my honorable mention in here real quick. I think the Jets and Chiefs game is going to be a lot closer than people believe. But I think the Jets. I think this is the game they went out and got Trevor Siemian.
Yep.
I don't think no one cares.
No.
This is going to be that game in which, because you saw a little bit on Pat McAfee's show when they had Aaron Rodgers on there and they asked about Zach Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, as a noble man as he did, he defended Zach Wilson and said, the offense
as he should.
The offense was built for me to run it. I'm a 17-year vet or whatever he is, year vet. He's a 3rd-year guy, 2nd-year guy. So, obviously now they're having to change the offense a little bit. But I think this is either the week that I think they just need to stop coaching him so hard. I think they just need to let him go out there and just kind of throw it. Let him be a quarterback. Because it seems like he's just trying too hard not to mess up.
Yeah.
Which they just need to let him go out there and mess up. Because that's, even if he's going out there and messing up,
well,
at least they can look better than that. At least they can look better than that. But I think this is going to be the week. I think the Jets keep it closer than what people think they're going to keep it. I just think this is going to be the week that breaks the back for the Jets. And all the fans just give up and they have to go out and find a quarterback just somewhere out there randomly. But the game I really want to bring up, you're gonna be like, what? But I keep seeing all these different guys talk about the Steelers and how like they have the Steelers as a top 10 team in the league.
Oh, who's saying that? Dear Lord.
Well, it was on Colin Cowher. We'll just say Colin Cowher was one. There's a YouTuber, Tom Grossi. I watch a lot of Tom Grossi. He's a Pack Nation. He does the Pack Cast. He has Pittsburgh really high.
Oh God.
And there's another YouTuber, Urinating Tree. He's a Steelers fan, but he doesn't even have the Steelers that high. And I think the Texans beat the Steelers this week.
Is that a hot take? I think that's. I mean, Houston's CJ Stroud is like what, top 5 in passing. I feel like that's honestly really crazy.
Yeah, but here's my reasoning. Steelers are the 3-point favorite, and Houston's at home. So that means if it was on a neutral stage, because I learned this one time, home field advantage always gets 3 points. So you always get 3 points in your favor of being home field. Now, if this was on a neutral stadium, they're basically saying this is a touchdown game for the Steelers. I don't know what people could have seen these first 2 weeks into the season. Or sorry, 3 weeks. But for the Steelers, it's only been 2 weeks, The first week didn't count. That makes the Steelers, an ideal betting favorite. I think Houston in the first 2 games, I think another one of those games, like you have to give them some slack. The game against the Ravens, dude, that was the first time this team has really played real football together. You got to give them slack against the Ravens. I mean, it's the Ravens. They have a good defense. Okay. So Houston's second game, they barely, they were in the game for most of the time. They just didn't start out hot against the Colts. But they kept strong, and they looked really good at multiple points in the game. And then they went out and they absolutely dominated the Jaguars at Jacksonville. And yeah, you can say, well, the Jags had a really bad game. Well, the reason why the Jags had a bad game, there was a lot of fans for the Jaguars there. The Texans immediately took the fans out of the equation. They literally walked down the field, scored a touchdown. They held the Jaguars to kicking a field goal, and they missed it. Then they walked back down the field again. They didn't convert, but they got far enough down the field. They let the Jags walk down the field again, made them kick a field goal. They didn't convert. They went back down the field again, got a field goal. It was automatically 10-0 before you knew anything happened. The Texans, they played a good game. And I think they do that starting with the defensive side, getting to the quarterback, getting after it. What is the one thing that we've noticed so far this season? Kenny Pickett does not understand how to deal with pressure.
No.
Does not like it in the slightest. And now you're going to go against a defensive-minded coach who we've seen early on loves to play basically get-in-your-face hardball defense. I think the only thing that the Steelers have a leg up on the Texans here at this stage, looking at it, is I think Pat Freiermuth probably dominates. But I have him on my fantasy team. They don't ever throw him they don't even throw him the ball. No. They don't. He's got 9 whole targets the first 3 games of the season. Dude, Adam Thielen has 11 last week against the Seattle Seahawks. Jay Jettas gets 9 looks in the first half. There's no reason Pat Freiermuth isn't getting more targets. But then there is an actual reason why. Yeah. It's because he's blocking. Because they're scared to only have 5 guys defending Pickett. So Freiermuth is literally sitting there blocking, and then he'll block, and then he'll come off the block and try to, run a quick route. And then Pickett doesn't look his way anyways or throws it in the dirt. So I think the Texans are going to get to him. I think they're going to go after him. Well, they've obviously proven that they can stay in games. They've now proven that they can win a game. And the thing about the Texans' win against the Jags is there was multiple times in the game where they could have taken the foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
But they just didn't. They just said, dude, if I take the foot off the gas pedal, I might lose. I might lose my lead. So let's just keep the throat or just keep the hand on the jugular and keep strangling them. And that's what they did. If I had to fight and wrestle a Jaguar, I'm probably going to put him in a chokehold, and I'm going to hold that chokehold until he gives up. I've never given up on that chokehold. So as a Texan, they thought to themselves, put that Jaguar in a chokehold, and we're not letting go of that chokehold until he's done, until he's out. So when you're going into the Steelers, you're going to have the same mindset. We're going to put you in that chokehold, and we're going to we're gonna strangle you until you're out. And I think this is gonna be a good. I think it's just gonna be good for the team because the Steelers got the good bit of the season to start at home. They started at home against the 49ers. They got blown out. Then they got to stay at home against the Browns. Then they had to go to Las Vegas. Now they have to go from Vegas to Houston. So you have a 2-game road stretch. Half your offense is destroyed. The Texans don't have to worry about a running back because Najee Harris is slow. He's just slow. He's not very
I
good.
can run faster than Najee Harris right now.
Warren looks better than Najee, but they only use him in like the passing, quick passes kind of set.
Yeah.
I just think this has all the writing on the wall for the Texans to like make a splash. They're gonna go 2-2, and everyone's gonna be looking at the Texans like, oh, they're not that bad. And now we're gonna look at it on another leaf, and we're gonna say, dude, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud was probably the better pick. I don't know, maybe I said that a couple times, but it's fun. It's fun. He hasn't thrown an interception yet this season.
Yeah.
This probably is the first game he throws an interception. I'm just sorry. It's a Mike Tomlin defense. But the problem with this Mike Tomlin defense is they kind of rely heavily on turnovers because the way their defense is built, it's a bend, don't break. So they bend and they bend and they bend and they bend all the way down the field, and they let you kick a field goal constantly unless they get a turnover. Now, the Browns game, I don't think they should have beaten the Browns. I think the Browns should have won that game. I just think the Browns had the unfortunate fact of we lost our best running back and we lost the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose him in the second quarter? And they had to come play after halftime. They were probably all emotional because, we all saw his leg go 3 different ways. So they're probably all emotional in their heads. They also had to start the game with it was a pick six. And then they had a fumble 6, so they had a scoop and score, sorry. They allowed 14 points. It was technically 12, but they allowed 14 points off turnovers. And if you look over there in that corner right there, the final score was 26-22.
Yes.
So you're telling me the Steelers only scored 3 field goals the whole game?
Yep.
Now we look over here at the Texans. The Texans have scored 9 points. That was week 1. They scored 20 points, but that was all offense. And then they scored 37 points. The thing that the Texans have shown us each week is they've gotten better and better and better. And their defense has gotten better, better, and better.
Okay.
So I just think the Texans should take this one. And I think that, I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers should be a 3-point favorite. I think honestly it should be closer more to a pick-em, in my wholehearted opinion. I could see the Steelers being a 3-point field goal favorite on a neutral field, but not a whole, 3-point favorite on the road, especially coming off another road win. Especially with I don't even know what to think of Vegas. That's the other thing is don't even get me started on Vegas. There's no script. The NFL had no script for Vegas. They just told them to go play, go show up.
None at all. All right, well, like your pick for your second game of the week. My honorable mention for this week, guys.
Are you going to do one of the cripple fights?
No, I'm not watching any of these pooper games. I will refrain from watching any. Well, I might watch 1 or 2, like in the multi-view on Sunday Ticket. If it's on there, I might watch it, but the sound will be towards a good game or Red Zone. So I always have Red Zone in one corner, and then I have the rest of the games I want to watch in the other. So,
dude, multi-view is the best thing I've ever had in my life.
Best thing that the NFL, YouTube have ever come up with. Honestly, they need to do it with League Pass as well.
They just make me want to get like a 70-inch TV and just.
Oh yeah.
I'm over here with only I think it's a 52-inch. Just ain't cutting it, man.
Yeah.
It's really big, but it ain't 70.
Yeah, the 70 is on the way. All right, if you guys want to donate, we'll leave a link in the description below. But anyway, my honorable mention of the week. I'm gonna go with Dallas and New England. Now, Dallas just got their butt kicked last week to the Birds, the Cardinals, and we all thought the Cardinals were going to be the worst team in the NFL, and turns out that they're not. They've been pretty competitive through 3 games. They actually won against teams were gassing up to be one of the best teams in the NFL. We all know them boys aren't them boys, especially when they lose to Mr. Joshua Dobbs, all right? That was quite embarrassing. And Shannon said it. He said it correctly. When the defense isn't getting like a dozen tackles for losses and a bunch of sacks and a bunch of scoops and scores and pick sixes, how are they going to score the ball? They can't. That's the answer. So they deserve to lose to Arizona, and we'll see if Mike McCarthy can actually get his offense clicking on some cylinders against Daddy Belichick, who is definitely going to be studying, the past 3 weeks of film. And
here's
for whatever
another
reason,
thing, right?
look at this: 31% is picking the Patriots, 68 picking them boys.
This game is New England.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy, and the line is at 7. That's insane.
Another thing is like the Cowboys had 16. I think it was 16 penalties when they played the Cardinals.
So same as last year, the most penalized team in the NFL. They just giving yards away.
There, in my opinion, there is no world that you can beat Bill Belichick while also having 10 penalties plus. There's no world.
No, even with MJ10, Mac Jones, Belichick's going to find a way to score. If I know anything, this man, if you give him enough, I guess, just like cheats, like penalties are just like cheat codes. Like, you give him enough cheat codes, he's going to take advantage of them. All right. So the -7 line for Dallas is like a slap in the face, because New England was the only team to really neutralize the Dolphins. In the other games, the Dolphins are putting up 40 and 70 points. So, I mean, that tells you all you need to know. And Dallas can't even score on offense. So just imagine how this game is going to look. So, to me, I would probably take the plus money for, or I'll probably take the spread for New England. I feel like Dallas is just not going to score enough. They honestly just will not score enough, and I would take the under. Mac Jones probably will get killed, but I mean, the Patriots can run the ball, which is also the Cowboys' Achilles heel, and I've been saying that for the past couple weeks. And what happened against the Cardinals?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes,
Ezekiel Elliott might have his revenge game. This might be the only game that Ezekiel Elliott even is relevant for the Patriots the whole season.
Yes, 100%.
As you're saying, take the Patriot spread. Dude, you take the Patriot spread, you put 2 units on the Patriot spread, and then you sprinkle a little bit on their money line, because Dak looks exposable, and if there's any person that can expose a quarterback for anything, it's Daddy Belichick.
Easily. And the New England defense is nothing to slouch about. They've done pretty well through 3 games. And like I said, the offense of them boys is just not good. I feel like, this is insane. But that's my honorable mention. I'm not going to spend too much time on them, I promise. But I'm going to stay in the AFC North. Another 1 o'clock game, guys. We got the Ravens versus Cleveland. Cleveland, honestly, is surprising the hell out of me. Like I said on Monday's episode, I literally saw Myles Garrett sack the offensive tackle and the quarterback. I never saw that in my life before. So once I saw that, I knew this team was legit in terms of defense. And Massage Watson is looking better each game. And the Ravens defense, and the Ravens defense is very suspect. They let the Colts beat them. They couldn't get stops against the Colts, and they don't have Jonathan Taylor out there, being the good running back that he can be.
But Zach Moss looks really good, so don't be slouching to my boy Zach Moss.
He does, and Minshew did put on some Minshew mania in that game at times, like you said. He made some better throws than Lamar. So I kind of want to see how Lamar does this week against the Browns defense. We'll see if the Browns can contain him, not let him run as much. And the Browns secondary is actually pretty decent. So if the Ravens don't have OBJ and they have to keep relying on Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews to catch every single pass, I feel like that's just not a good formula for the Ravens to win. And what you say, Gus Edwards got hurt, so he's like questionable this week.
Oh, he's questionable. He's listed as questionable on fantasy.
Okay, so
I didn't know he got hurt, but on fantasy they have him as questionable.
And then Justice Hill as well is officially listed as questionable. So they're down like 3 running backs potentially. Odell and Bateman are questionable.
Yeah, but they have a running back quarterback, so they're fine.
Yeah, but he's going to need to be like a superhero to win this game. Ravens have basically 54% of the matchup predicted on ESPN. It's in Cleveland. 1:00 game, 68. It's going to be the weather. So it's going to be pretty fair weather. So no excuses there. The over-under is at 40. So I don't know. I mean, for this game, I think it's a pick me. I'm not going to lean either way. Honestly, I just want these teams to beat up on each other so that, Cincinnati can catch up a little bit. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see because the Ravens defense can also get to the quarterback as well. Their secondary is very suspect, but in terms of getting to the quarterback, they can do that as well. Their run defense is also kind of suspect. Joe Mixon kind of ran all over them. So we'll see if Ford and if Kareem Hunt plays, if both of those two can run all over them. Plus, Deshaun can run a little bit too. So we'll see, how their running game goes against the Ravens' run defense. All in all, I think it'll be a good game. Out of the 1:00 games, I think this will be like the second or third best one. So honestly, put it in multi-view, enjoy it, sprinkle a little money on whoever you think is going to win, and just enjoy a good game, guys. That's my picks of the week. But now I think we're going to move on to worst teams so far through week 3. So Lawrence, I'll stop sharing my screen. Tell me, I guess, if you have one or two of your picks for worst teams so far.
You're really gonna do me like this?
Yeah. I'll let you go first.
All right, well, guys, he's honorably gonna let me go first. So he's just gonna let me put my take out there. Who I think is the worst, team overall. I'm gonna throw a hot take at you.
Okay.
I don't think they're the worst team. I just don't think they get to 500 this season. I think this is going to be one of those teams that they peaked 1 year too early. And then the year that this would be their second year, their strength of schedule just gets a little too strong for what they were built for. They still needed 1 more year to, I guess, get fully prepared to take on the NFL league. And I think that's going to be the Giants. The Giants beat up on a lot of bad teams last year. They won a lot of close games last year. And this year, they came back against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But in reality, you're supposed to beat the Cardinals. You're not supposed to come back against the Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah, we could say that, but the Cowboys had 16 penalties, whatever they did, and they obviously did not pay attention to the Cardinals. They obviously took the week off, didn't watch film, didn't prepare at all. But you started the season 40-0 loss. And mind you, you got to really think about it. And I was talking to a coworker today. It's what in reality was worse? The Denver 70-20 loss, which was 50 points.
Yes.
Or Cowboys beating up the Giants 40-0. Which one of those is actually the worst loss? And we both came to the conclusion that the Cowboys loss is the worst loss. The Broncos lost by 50 points, and they allow a team to score the most points ever, 70 points. But in reality, at least they put points on the board.
Yeah.
At least the game looked competitive for the first. I think it was up until the second quarter with 5 minutes left. It was a 21-10 game. There was still competitive juices going in the game. There was no competitive nature in that Cowboys game at all. And another thing that adds to it, which makes me think that they're not the worst, but one of the worst. And that was when there was 4 minutes left against the 49ers. They just took out Daniel Jones. I mean, dude, there's 4 minutes left.
Yep.
And you just took out Daniel Jones.
Danny
Am I
Dimes
saying
gone.
this am I saying this in a sense that I'm a little bitter because I had Daniel Jones to throw for 25 plus completions and Brock Purdy to throw for 25 plus completions, and Brock Purdy got 25 completions on the dot, and Daniel Jones had 23 completions. So there's 4 minutes left in the game, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to hit this bet. It was plus 1,900. So plus 1,900 bet. I sprinkled $5 on it. Didn't think it was going to hit. I said, screw it. What happens, happens. I almost had a chance to win $100.
Ah.
And they took Daniel Jones out with 4 minutes left. And it was one of those things. It was like, okay, but you guys are only down by 2 scores. And there's 4 minutes left. And most teams' aspects, they're thinking to themselves, oh, we still technically have a chance.
Yeah,
so let's actually go out there and have a chance.
Yeah, anything.
They just gave up. They literally gave up. They said, it ain't happening. Put in Tyrod Taylor.
Yep, no shame.
Taylor. So, and coming up on this week, I just saw it in front of me, but I've already forgotten because I'm a little old in my brain now. Who are the Giants playing this week? Oh, the Giants are playing the Seahawks, and they're at home, and it's a pick'em game. They literally have this as a pick'em. I think the Seahawks just absolutely obliterate and destroy them.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I really think the Seahawks absolutely destroy them. And that's solely because...
At MetLife? That's crazy.
At MetLife. There's going to be a double whammy on insults to injuries.
Wow.
Seattle's pressure in the pass rush is really good. Saquon's probably not playing. No. If they do, I think they're idiotic to try to rush him that quick. And the Giants just can't block for anything. They can't even block to save Daniel Jones 2 seconds in the pocket. He literally doesn't have no time to release a ball. The ball literally cannot physically be released from his hands as quick as pass rush get to him. And the Seattle, Carolina has a good defense. The different schemes and everything they throw out there and on their offensive side, they're not even throwing the ball deep down the field half the time. They just allow guys to get open and just allow them to do the yards after the catch. They really took advantage of the Lions. They took advantage of the Panthers. And arguably, they should kind of won. They kind of possibly, maybe, should have won week 1 too. So I think Seattle is a little better than I thought they were.
Yep.
And I think the Giants are a lot worse than everyone thought they were. That is the first team I'll talk about.
Okay. I think I have 2 teams as well. If you follow me on my personal Twitter at Markel_Bland, I think is what it is, or I think it might be mbland123. I don't know. I'll link it down below. After the Bears game, I was like, their OC is an idiot, and the offensive line might be the worst one I've ever seen. So my first pick is going to be the Bears. And I'm not blaming Justin Fields. And I actually had them as my worst team. I said they're going to win 2 games. And I think I'm pretty on track with them winning 2 games. Okay? But, Justin Fields, it's not his fault. All right? I'll let you go. But let me just say this. This man is running for his life every play. And the commentators know that. They literally say, there's Justin Fields. He's running for his life. I hear it every single pass play. I swear to God. Go ahead.
He holds the ball for so long too, though.
His receivers suck. They can't get open. Even DJ Moore can't get open. They suck. They gave this man DJ Moore and thought it was enough. No. He's going to get double covered, and then fucking Mooney and whoever else. Claypool. Claypool caught his first touchdown, and it took him 3 games. And it was a little baby post route, and he barely caught it. So yeah, so they're definitely horrible. Their OC is an idiot. I think they were showing the stats in the last game, and people have been bringing this up the Bears, they really ran the ball last year. And they still have Herbert, I'm pretty sure. Khalil Herbert.
Yep.
And they went from like getting about like 7 yards per carry, they averaged, to now they're getting like 4 yards per carry, and like they're carrying and they're running the ball less. And it's just like, your offensive line is like easily, very easily the weakest link on your team. And you said it earlier in the show. Hey, your offensive line is terrible, not doing a good job. The best way to get them going is to run the ball. It's easier to go after somebody and hit them than you being the one that's getting hit. And you're like falling backwards, trying to stop someone from hitting your quarterback. I just don't understand what he's doing. Like, if you at least run the ball, you at least like get the ball out of Justin Fields' hand, and he doesn't have to run for his life. It's up to the other guy to make a play. You're asking Justin Fields to do everything now, and that's just not with the team you have. At least the offensive unit you have, that's just not you can't do that. He's just doesn't have the same tools that these other quarterbacks have. If you want magic to work, it's not going to happen. He just can't do it. You're like, I don't know. I feel bad for Justin Fields because he deserves to be a starting quarterback in this league. And I thought he was going to make a jump, and it looks like he will not because his coach is hell-bent on not helping him in the proper way for whatever reasons.
And I think the other thing for that team is like you can't even blame the head coach, Eberflus, because
no, it's the OC's fault. Yeah,
because Eberflus is trying to hold a team together while one of their coaches is getting raided by the FBI, and Eberflus is literally having to take over the defense in the middle of the week, and just having to, he's not even getting asked about the team or anything. He's getting asked about his coworker getting raided, and he's got to basically be like, dude, I don't know why he got raided. You think the FBI is going to tell me why he got raided? How the hell am I going to know why he got raided?
Yep.
The FBI is 100% not going to tell me. Nope. And even if they did tell me, why would I tell you?
Yep.
Or exactly. Whatever. But, well, I think it's time to talk about it then.
Your second team, yeah, let's hear it.
The second team is obviously Carolina Panthers.
Oh, no, I didn't think you would actually say it. I didn't think I would hear it.
Oh, dude, they're bad. Like, they're bad. They're just bad, dude. It's just, I mean, every game I watch of the Carolinas now, I wish you would have gotten C.J. Stroud. I mean, that's one thing that we all wish as Panther fans. I think you're all thinking to them because we don't even have a first round pick next year.
No,
we gave it up for Bryce Young. There's a high chance that the Bears go 1-2 in the draft, and I'm not even gonna lie. I think maybe the Bears just want to be really bad so they can get 1 and 2 because they see across the country that the Carolina Panthers are the second worst team in the second worst team in the NFL. They're the worst, but they're the second worst, and they're thinking to themselves, we're obviously easily, without a doubt, you're gonna go 1-2 in the you're gonna go 1-2. We don't even have any draft picks because our GM just trades away all our draft picks to try to get talent. And then you have to ask yourself, what talent? Because it doesn't make any sense. As a Panthers fan, you look at James Bradberry on the Eagles, and you have to say to yourself, why? Like, we thought that we wanted to keep Dante Jackson, who was always hurt, always has been hurt, always does get hurt.
Yeah.
We wanted to keep Dante Jackson instead of James Bradberry because Dante Jackson came from LSU and is super fast, and James Bradberry is a little slower and came out of Samford. Okay. One of them's been to a Super Bowl. Other one has not. Other one has consistently been on good teams with the Giants and with the Eagles. The other one has constantly been on the Panthers and constantly not playing because he's always hurt.
This is true.
We go out and we get J.C. Horn, and he's always hurt. We have Stephon Gilmore, who's never hurt. But we decided not to keep Stephon Gilmore because they don't want to pay him any money. Yet the Cowboys barely paid him. and I think we had the most salary cap space for next year. We know we have to pay Brian Burns. Apparently, we don't want to pay Brian Burns. But then again, I can understand why they don't want to pay Brian Burns, because apparently Brian Burns said he wanted to get paid close to what Nick Bosa was getting paid.
Yeah.
No offense, Brian Burns. You don't have like the same pool as a Nick Bosa. The Panthers were trying to give you, I think Max Crosby gets $25 million a year. I think the Panthers are trying to give him $27 million to go over to leapfrog Max Crosby. I mean, you got to be looking at that contract and saying to yourself, like, I'm probably like on pace, like on the same level as Max Crosby. I shouldn't be asking for absurd amounts of money, because like I still have a whole team I have to build around me as well. Because oh yeah, Brian Burns, you might get paid, and then they're not going to be able to pay anyone else because they're stupid with their money and they don't know what they're doing. We went out and we got Miles Sanders. Now I also don't think it's all Miles Sanders' fault, but we're paying him lots of money. And in my opinion, my whole honest opinion, the backup running back, Chuba Hubbard, when he's on the field, is more electric than Miles Sanders. That could be because Miles Sanders came into the season with a groin injury, and he still has a groin injury, and he plays each week with a groin injury. If he's just not fully ready to play, and we're 0-3, does it really freaking matter? No. Just put Chuba Hubbard out there. He looks better anyways. Probably because he doesn't have a bum groin. And then the final icing on the cake, like all these like fans, they like I'm on the Panthers Twitter, you know, I'm all over it. Like people always give hate, like they always are hating on CJ Henderson. I get it. CJ Henderson isn't that good as a corner. He's okay. But against the Seattle game, we really could tell that CJ Henderson was not in there. And it didn't even matter because they were bullying Dante Jackson. When CJ Henderson was in there, they didn't even bully CJ. They were bullying Dante Jackson.
Bullying the hell out of him.
And everyone's always bullying CJ Henderson. And that just kind of proved then and there that it ain't CJ Henderson that's the problem. It's just the fact that, like, you know, CJ Henderson gets beat, but when CJ Henderson gets beat, I'm sorry, my man gets torched. But the problem is he doesn't always get beaten like that. He doesn't. And you got to stop the hate on the man. And I said last thing, but last thing. At least we look competitive with Andy Dalton. And now we're going to go against
you guys that.
And now we're going to play the Vikings, and apparently Bryce Young's going to come right back in.
Oh.
And it's just kind of like,
Oh.
We had one game in which we looked really competitive. And I might be just speaking too early. Maybe we look competitive against the Vikings with Bryce Young, but I think the one thing that you can't deny, and I think this game would have went completely different if Andy Dalton's first game was pretty much in any stadium other than Seattle, Kansas City. Seattle, Kansas City, maybe Dallas, but pretty much if it was in any other stadium, like, I think they would have been even closer than that, because they had I think they had 8 false start penalties, and they almost always came when Andy Dalton was trying to make an audible at the line of scrimmage. He was trying to do audibles. Dude, Andy Dalton was chewing the crap out of the Seattle's defense. He just kept audibling at the line of scrimmage and calling audibles, and it was amazing because he was making throws and throws and throws and throws, and he was just making. If we look competitive, we look good.
He was making plays. The Red Rocket was making plays.
And as soon as we look like we have a chance to, like, you know, actually win a game against the Vikings, because, you know, we're going to be at home, so he can call those audibles. You know, Bryce Young doesn't call any damn audibles. Bryce Young goes up to the line of scrimmage. I don't give a crap. He walks up to the line of scrimmage, and he just the play is already in his helmet, and he waits for the snap, and he runs the play.
Yeah,
and he doesn't, and he reads the coverages, but then he stands behind the guard, and Miles Sanders has to push him over to go stand behind the center. I mean, I'm just tired of trash.
He's tired of trash. He's tired, guys. I'm
I'm just
tired.
tired of
I'm
trash.
tired.
Just tired of trash.
Okay. I understand.
I just wanted one more game of Dalton. I just wanted one more game.
I
Because
understand.
I feel like if Dalton played a home game, I think Dalton could win a game. I think Dalton can win a home game.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I think and we both went into like when we previewed the NFC South, we were like, okay, Panthers they can make a run in the division. They have seemingly they had all the ingredients, but I feel like you guys too are getting plagued by the injuries, and yeah, it's just not looking too good.
It
So
really makes you question if they even have a strength and conditioning coach. It really makes you question it.
yeah, I was going to actually choose my team if they didn't win against the Rams because I mean honestly I think I said on Monday's episode I was like if they win Joey has to go week to week until the bye week and then we'll reassess and then if we lose it's gonna be we're gonna have to have a serious discussion about just shutting them down and then just fighting for our lives. And if they lost, I was gonna come in here, on our joint episode Wednesday and be like, hey, like we're pretty bad and we're gonna be pretty bad for the next couple weeks. But we get the job done. So
I think you just got lucky the Rams just didn't run the freaking ball ever.
well, defense was pretty good. So
They didn't exploit the one thing that the defense had trouble with, which was stopping the run.
Stopping the run, yeah, 100%. But we will go in another direction. We'll stay in the AFC though. Okay. And I will go with the team that, they let 70 points go in their head. Ooh. And Uncle was not too happy about this. Let me tell you that. If you watch his show with Ocho, he definitely was not happy. And if you watch First Take on Monday, he was quite furious. The Broncos are pretty bad. The Broncos are damn bad. I don't think I've ever seen 70 points, and I'm like, we're both like mid-20s. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a 70-point game.
Analia asked me what was the most points I've ever seen a team score, and I literally said, I was like, 59. No, sorry, 58. The Patriots versus Titans. It was a cold, snowy game, and Tom Brady put up 58 points against the Titans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Peyton's put up 50 before, and wasn't the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl pretty high scoring? Like didn't Brady put up like 40 or 50?
Oh, it was only 28. You're thinking of the Eagles and Patriots.
And Patriots. Okay, yeah. Okay.
But Drew Brees put up 56 at one point.
Yeah, like the most I've ever seen in an NFL game is like 50. But you got damn near 70 of it on your head, bro. And you're supposed to be one of the elite defenses.
You had 70 put up on your head in the third quarter, though.
Yes, and they like took their foot off the gas because they weren't there to embarrass you. They're not in the business of embarrassing teams. No, Mike McDaniels didn't want Sean Payton getting fired because if they would have put up like 80, or God forbid if they put up 90, Sean Payton's getting fired. Like 1,000%. The Waltons have more than enough money to get that man the hell up out of there. They would have fired him, and then they would have. Honestly, they probably would have cut Russ. Like this is no hyperbole. I honestly swear to God, I think they would have cut both of them. Because imagine being the first team that gets 90 points put on you. That's an NBA game. Like that's crazy. 70 points in 3 quarters is an NBA game. Like that's insane.
That was a college football score. Like that's what Ohio State does to like Citadel.
Yeah, that's what LSU did to that one team a couple weeks like after they lost to FSU. Like that's what they did the next week to another team. Not in the NFL, guys. That does not happen. It's not supposed to happen. I don't think it will ever happen again for a very long time. But these idiots who are supposedly have the best secondary, I don't think so. We know the run defense was suspect. We know the linebackers are kind of suspect. But we knew that, okay, the one strength they have is a secondary. But then they have Hill go for 150. Mostert went for like 100. Achan went for like 100. and Tua threw for like 350. Like, dear Lord, that was just like I was playing Madden on like all rookie. Like, that doesn't make any sense. They're bad. I don't think they're gonna compete with the Bears with like winning 2 games. I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, 2 games is like their ceiling in terms of like winning games. They're just really bad. Sean Payton. A lot of people are right. Sean Payton should have stayed in that booth at Fox until the Chargers get rid of their coach this year because they're not looking too hot either. And he should have taken that job. But I digress.
Yep.
Any thoughts?
I think the Chargers coach, I think he would have gotten the can if going for it on that 4th and 2 on their own 28. If the Vikings had won that game, I don't think he flies back with the team. I think they would have just let them in Minnesota and told him to figure it out.
Oh man, yeah. Imagine going 0-3. Yeah, 0-3 would have not been good. He would have lost his job. You're right.
I don't know. I think if he punted the ball and gone 0-3, I think they would have let him fly back with the team, and I think they'd just been really disappointed with him. Now, if he had gone for that 4th and 2, missed it, and then they lost the game, that's when I think that he doesn't go back with the team, and I think they tell him, "Hey, you're going to find your way home from Minnesota. We just paid you all that money to be our head coach, and you can figure it out from there. I know you can afford a plane ticket. Go ride economic. Go ride economy."
Yeah, and the Chargers they kind of don't have money, and yeah, I think you're right. They would have probably just swallowed their pride and say, "Fuck it, we'll just take out no loan, get rid of this idiot."
You went for 4th and 2, and they had no timeouts. It's just been. I watched that game. I watched all of that game.
Yeah.
It was very clear that the refs were trying to do everything in their power to help the Vikings win that game.
Yeah, it was pretty clear.
It was pretty apparent that the refs really wanted the Vikings to win that game. And the Vikings just can't stop, messing up to help the refs help them. And I'm hoping that the Vikings continue this into the Panthers, and I can take back everything that I just said. Panthers, but
I hope so.
I don't think I will. So
well, we'll see. We'll see on Sunday. But all right, guys, that's the end of our picks for worst teams. And also, that's the end of this episode, guys. No rapid fire today, no trivia. We kind of hit our allotted time for the episode. But yeah, thank you guys.
You guys got to hear the first Markel rant that you guys have ever had. Okay? And let me tell you
first
guys,
of many.
Markel rants, Markel being angry, those are the best times. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, they don't happen very often, but when I see red, I just turn into another man. I swear, just turn into another man. Very unfortunate what happened today. We'll get past this somehow. It'll take some time, but we'll get past it. Thank you for watching, guys. We may or may not have an episode tomorrow, so just stay tuned for that. We may have our boy Tevin come on, so stay tuned for that. But if not, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. And with that, we bid you adieu. Peace, y'all.
Adios.
Adios.